Hello everyone, welcome to section 1 of chapter 11, that is handling multimedia files. So in this chapter you're going to learn about helper and applications and plugins, and also you're going to learn and practice how to add different audio and video files. So first let's see what is helper application. So actually our browser cannot display all kind of files. It can just understand HTML files, CSS, and then certain basic image files. It cannot understand all MIMEs, different multimedia files. So to handle certain files, it needs to use helper application or plugin. Okay, so let's see what are helper application first. Helper application is a separate program, it's a separate software that will help the browser to interpret the file that it cannot handle by itself. So it will open as a separate window from the browser, from the current web page. It will open up a helper application as a separate window. Even if you close the current browser window, it will the helper application window will still be on. That means it is completely separate from the current web page, browser page. So the browser does not have any control over this helper application. Okay, so it is multitasking than the other choice. The plugin is the one more choice the browser will use to handle multimedia files. But comparing with the plugin, it is helper application is multitasking because it can have its own control. It can stand alone even without the browser page. So what are we are using a lot of helper applications and plugins in our for our daily activities in internet. For example, you can see Zoom is helper application. You might have seen, if you open Zoom, Zoom will open in a separate window other than the link that you're clicking. So it will open in a separate window. It can stand alone. Okay, even if you close the browser page, still the Zoom page will be on. The QuickTime Media Player, Adobe Reader, Windows Media Players are all examples of helper applications. Okay, so I'm repeating, helper application is nothing but the separate software that browser will use to interpret certain multimedia files that the browser cannot handle itself. So plugin is another choice for the browser to handle multimedia files. So the main difference between the plugin or add-on to helper application is it is integrated directly by the web page. Meaning, if you close the web page, that window plugin also will get closed. Okay, because it cannot live on its own. It is in the same. It is integrated to the same web page. So it is platform specific. That means each browser will have its own set of plugins. So every browser has a separate official website where you can download and install certain type of plugins because it is platform specific. So every browser has its own list. So this it should be installed. Moreover, it should be installed in your system. So comparing with the plugin, helper application is more versatile. Okay, so Adobe Acrobat, Java runtime environment. So these are some examples of plugins. So now let's see what are the common audio and video files. So you might have here MP3 is popular audio file, M4A is a popular audio file. Other than that, WAV and then AIFF, audio interchangeable file format, MAID, AU, OGG, or these these are the popular audio files. And then when it comes to video files, M4V and then MPG and AVI QuickTime movie, MOV QuickTime. So these are different type of MIMEs to handle video files. So now let's see how to integrate audio and video files, these different audio and video files in web page. So the latest version of HTML5 will let us to handle this audio and video file, different audio and video file without any helper application and plugin, because the HTML5 has its own tag, audio and video tag, which is capable of handling this audio and video files. So let's see the code, but before looking at the code, we have to go through the accessibility criteria when we use audio and video files. The first thing is for audio or video, you have to use subtitle or transcript or caption for someone who cannot listen to, who cannot hear the content. We need to add transcript and caption. So these are the accessibility criteria that we have to follow when we use multimedia file. So let's see how to include audio file. So to include any kind of the audio files, you have to use the tag audio. So opening and closing audio tag. So this is the parent tag, which has the child tag called source. So the source tag has many attributes like src attribute and type attribute. In the src attribute, you have to specify the location or file name, okay, file name of the audio with different types. Okay, so for the same audio file, you may have different version, different type, OGG format, M4A format, MP4 format. You have to give the file name, and also you have to specify the type. That means what kind of file it is and what compression is used in that file. So that should be specified with the source attribute, source tag. And then the audio tag, the parent tag, has controls attribute. The controls attribute should have the controls value to include the controls in the audio file, like on and off button and the volume control. So to include these control, you have to include control tag. I'll show you how it will look like. So if you look at this, you can see so I have included some audio format here. So let's look at the code. If you look at the code, you can see audio tag. I have included audio tag and it has the controls attribute, and then I have included the file format. So if you look at the file format, you can see this is the file format, M4A. I have M4A file format, and then I have included text description with that. Okay, so if you look at the code, the src attribute has the file name, audio M4A file name and type, and then controls attribute will include that control. Okay, on and off control and video control. Sorry, audio control. So this is how we can include audio element, audio tag. So this audio tag can have these attributes. Other than this controls attribute, it can have these different kind of attributes. Autoplay will let you to select whether you want to play the audio immediately. Once you open the file, whether you want to play the audio immediately, that you can specify in using autoplay attribute. And controls attribute we have already seen, to include the controls. Loop attribute will let you to specify whether you want to play the audio over and over. And preload attribute can have these values, none, auto and metadata. So this will help you to select whether, specify whether you want to load the content before the web page is getting loaded, load the content when the web page is getting loaded. Okay, So these are the attributes that you have to use with the audio tag to specify how you want to play that. Okay, so let's look at W3 School website to look at the different format. You can see audio controls. You don't need to specify controls value. If you use the controls as it is, then it will include the controls. So you can see autoplay, controls, loop, and muted is a separate attribute that you can use to specify whether the output file needs to be muted or not. Okay, so these are the audio tag. Now let's move on to the next content, that is how to include video in your web page by using video tag. So you have to use video tag as audio. You can see opening and closing video tag. As in audio, you have to use the child tag, source tag, where you will specify different file format. Okay, so the source tag will have this src attribute and type attribute. In src attribute, you have to specify the file or location of the file. And then in type attribute, you have to specify if it is since it is video tag, you have to say it is video with the compression mode. Okay, compression should be here with this type attribute. And then this video tag can have controls. So this video tag with the controls attribute and will specify whether you want to have the control to play the video, and poster is the attribute, will specify the image. So for example, if the video is not playing for some reason, it will display this image. Okay, instead of the video, it will just display this poster image in its place. And then width and height of the video display. So these can be specified with the video attribute. So the attribute can be poster, height, autoplay, whether you want to play automatically or not. When you open the page automatically, whether the video needs to be played or not, that can be specified with the autoplay. And controls to specify the on and off button and volume control, and loop whether the video needs to be played again and again. Muted attribute to mute when it is getting when it plays. So this kind of content that you can specify. Let's look at some files. So you can see this is the example video that I have included. So let's look at the file folder. So if you can see that I have a poster, so that will display this image. If the video is not getting displayed, at least this image will get displayed in that place. And then I have one video file. If you have multiple versions, then you have to use different source attribute to specify that. So you can see the video controls attribute, poster, and width and height. In addition to that, you can specify preloaded, muted, those attributes. And since I have only one version of this video, I have used one source, but it is recommended to use multiple source in case if a browser has some issues in handling this file format, it will pick the other choices. Okay, so that's why we use different source tag for the same file. Okay, so let's look at the W3 School website page for the video tag. You can see how they use different file format here. Okay, so MP4 has MP4 compression, and OGG has OGG different compression method. Okay, and then video controls attribute, all those stuff you can specify. Okay, so next we are going to see how to include video from external content. Okay, so you don't need to have the video file in your folder. You can integrate external video using iframe. Okay, so let's see how to include iframe. So you have to use this iframe tag to include iframe, but you don't need to specify. For example, if you go to that YouTube particular video, which you want to integrate, YouTube provides that option. So let me open this page. So if I go to this page, you can see here, if you click this share, you will see the first option saying embed. If you click that embed, it will give you that iframe tag. So all you need to do is you have to copy that whole iframe tag, starting from the starting tag to the closing tag. You have to copy that, and then you have to include it. So I have copied that iframe content of my YouTube channel, and then I have copied that iframe tag and placed it here. So let me save this, and then so you can see I have integrated that iframe tag here. Okay, so all you need to do is go to the chat and click that embed. You will get the iframe tag, just to include it, and then you will see that particular video will get embedded in your web page. So this is how you can use iframe to integrate external video content in your web page. So this iframe also has different attributes like allow full screen, height and width, loading. So let's look at W3 School website to understand the different attributes of iframe. So allow full screen, you can specify whether true or false, and then loading, eager or lazy. So it specifies whether the browser should load an iframe immediately or defer loading after displaying some content, or after displaying some conditions are met. Okay, and then sandbox will provide some restrictions. By using sandbox attribute, you can provide some restriction in playing that iframe videos. Okay, so in this section we have learned what are helper applications and plugins, and then what are the different multimedia files, audio and video files, and how to include audio and video file by using audio tag and video tag and the other attributes of audio and video tags, and then how to integrate external videos by using iframe. So the next video we are going to learn transform, transition and animation property. See you in the next video.